After 38 years at Chabad House, the following is universally known. Chabad House at Rutgers is the largest center for Jewish life on any public university campus in the world, enriching thousands of young lives who call Chabad House their home away from home. The 90,000 square foot Chabad complex features housing, kosher kitchens, an Ashkenazi and a Sephardi synagogue. Tonight, we will discover the untold story, the stuff that happens at Chabad House that we don't talk about.
If something happens at one of our commands, something that's not real pleasant, the rabbi will show up and talk to the police officers and talk to the victims if necessary. So it's a very good working relationship. We couldn't do our job without them.
It's a terrific honor, and I'm grateful to receive it. The additional truth, though, is that the honor really belongs to the office, to the members of the office of the Attorney General, to the Port Authority Police, to the Transit Police, to the State Police, to those members of our law enforcement community who have been building the relationships with your community and others for years and years and years. Those law enforcement professionals are the ones that deserve the honor. They're the ones that make our state a better and safer place to live.
Mendy Carback and his father came here, and I didn't know what they were coming for, and then they said, "Well, we're going to honor you and some of the other law enforcement people," and I was speechless. Frankly, I didn't know what to say. It's quite an honor, and I really appreciate the honor. Plus, it's the other people that are being honored I have the greatest respect for, so it's nice to be included in that group.
As I told the rabbi, I'm not worthy of this award, but I'm happy to accept it on behalf of the men and women of the New Jersey Transit Police Department, who I believe work very, very hard, are very dedicated and committed to public service and for law enforcement in general.
We're deeply touched by this. One, being in the same group with law enforcement, which I was not in law enforcement. My brother was. I thought that he could pick a lot more noble people than I, and you can never say no to Rabbi Carlebach.
Flattered, humbled, and believe me, there are a lot more people that are more deserving than I this year. But if it's to help the Chabad House, believe me, I'm there.
So I'm the great beneficiary of a deep relationship that existed before I assumed the office. Since I've assumed the office, I understand why and how it's been as easy as it's been to have such a deep and meaningful relationship with the Chabad House and with the Jewish community as a whole.
My predecessor, I think it was back in 2007, had an incident where on board a train, a young Orthodox Jewish man was using tefillin and the Jewish prayer boxes and standing and praying on board a train. And at that time, it caused some concern for certain people who were on board the train.
And as he was standing there praying with his tefillin on his head and on his arm, somebody got off the train and reported to have seen a Middle Eastern type wearing electronic equipment and different types of wires on his head and on his arm, and he reported it to the Middletown Police Department. The Middletown Police Department in turn reported it to the Newark Police Department and to the New Jersey Transit Police Department. The train was stopped on the tracks, and 3 different police agencies entered the train, and there was this young man praying with tefillin.
The then chief of police, Joseph Bober, reached out to Rabbi Carlebach. Rabbi Carlebach at the time, as he is now, was the chaplain for the New Jersey State Police, to see if he can help with this situation. And as I understand it, Rabbi Carlback was more than kind enough to intercede and to speak to not only the officers who were involved, to educate the members of the department on this tradition, but also to the people who made the complaint against the young man, and also to the young man himself.
From this singular story was born the chaplaincy program at New Jersey Transit.
My predecessor, as a result of that, petitioned Rabbi Carlback to become a chaplain for the New Jersey Transit Police Department. So Rabbi Carlback was the first chaplain for New Jersey Transit, and now we have a chaplaincy that consists of 4 ministers.
Early on, when we just started working here in New Jersey, I met a very interesting and a great individual. He was Colonel Kelly, the head then of the state police, and he encouraged me greatly to look into ways of connecting with law enforcement.
He was a character, a lot of similar characteristics that Rabbi Carlback has. Driven, loyal, World War II veteran, general in the Army, colonel, head of the state police. As I'd said before, he was a general, but he preferred to be called colonel. That was his pride and joy, the state police. And over the years, as we know, Rabbi Carlback came right along, and he's one of the greatest supporters of the New Jersey State Police. Something I think my father would be very proud of today.
There was something that clicked between Rabbi Carlback and my dad. I don't know how to really explain it, but the two of them saw eye to eye on a lot of things. And they had similar personalities, dry sense of humors. They like to have a vodka together. They like to talk about how to push things in a positive way. And that really just kept to develop. Rabbi was new here in the area. He needed help. And when my dad saw that vision, he said, this is a good thing. This is good. And this could be a model that can spread, helping youth and keeping them on the straight and narrow.
And unfortunately, at the end, what we needed, my father's illness and his passing, Rabbi Carlback was there. My father's funeral, there were thousands of law enforcement officers from all over the Northeast. And they were impressed. They were wondering, who is this man of stature? He took his time to come here, do a special presentation to a non-Jewish person, a person not of the Jewish community, but it was out of brotherhood, friendship, and love that he did it. He made the day, and believe me, brought tears to our eyes and a special part in our heart for him for what he had done. He didn't have to do that, he did it. It was quite unique.
We received one of those wonderful nor'eastern storms, and it was on a Erev Shabbos on a Friday afternoon. It must have been 2 hours before Shabbos when I got a phone call that some wires had come down and effectively shut down the entire southbound Garden State Parkway. And we knew that without question there would be hundreds and hundreds of stranded people heading to Ocean County, to Lakewood, heading in that direction, that would be stranded on the parkway. We immediately contacted the state police and we explained the problem, that people would be leaving their cars come sundown because they won't be traveling on the Sabbath anymore. And what went into motion immediately was we gave them names and addresses of families at every exit of the parkway to help the people that are stranded, direct them to walk to a nearby home. We immediately called the homes and we had food prepared. In these 2 hours, I myself had some 20 guests for the Sabbath in our home. We took salami out of our freezer and whatever. I never saw these people before, and chances are I'll never see them again. But hundreds of people literally found a place to go and not desecrate the Sabbath and to be safe. In addition, the state police agreed that if the people parked their cars on the side of the parkway, something which is not allowed. But as long as they was not obstructing traffic, they would leave the cars there until after the Sabbath. And after the Sabbath, they could come back. By then, the roads were plowed, retrieve their cars, and head on their merry way. What's interesting about the story was that the Israeli press picked up this story, and it was reported in Israel about how the local authorities in New Jersey, state police, worked with rabbis to enable hundreds of Jewish people to keep their Sabbath.
Well, it was on a Friday night on Shabbos, and I had been playing with my children after the Shabbos meal by the couch, and I had fallen asleep. And my wife, I wake up to my wife trying to wake me up and saying, Mendy, your phone is ringing. I don't usually use a phone on Shabbos, but I keep my phone plugged in upstairs in my bedroom. And when my wife noticed, it said on it the doctor's name, and he's an Orthodox Jew, and knowing if he's calling on a Friday night, it's a true emergency, I called him back. And he told me that there was a missing 16-year-old girl, and Hatzalah there had a feeling that she was heading towards the airport on foot. That's crossing some major intersections, Route 1 and 9, and they wanted me to get, knowing that I'm the chaplain of the Port Authority, they wanted me to get involved. So they gave me a full description of the girl, and I called the tour commander, which is a lieutenant that's in charge of that shift at that hour. I identified myself. I gave him a full description of what the girl looked like. He says, Rabbi, we'll put it out over the radio, and I'll get back to you.
Actually, we found the girl. She was in one of the terminals. Thankfully, thanks to Rabbi Carlbach and some quick thinking on the part of our police officers, we were able to spot her and get her and take her back to her parents.
Within 10 minutes, the lieutenant called me back. He says, Rabbi, our officers have the girl. She was found in Terminal B, and we're going to reunite her with Hatzalah and her family. The officers that found the girl, this is part of their job. It's just another day. But they saved a life. And, it's a great feeling to celebrate the rest of Shabbos knowing that a life was saved.
The community initiatives are important because we need to stay in touch. If we're not speaking and seeing one another on a regular basis, the simple reality is that the crush of daily business, both on the community side and on law enforcement side, will prevent us from having regular dialogue. So those occasions in times of relative peace provide us with an opportunity to talk, to raise issues that are of the concern at the moment, get feedback on what the community is hearing and seeing, and decide how we're going to handle our next event. But the most important part of every one of these faith-based initiatives is communication. That's what they're about, and that's why we have them.
Rabbi Carlbach came and taught a class for our command staff before the Agadah event at MetLife Stadium. We had 90,000+ people at MetLife Stadium. From the law enforcement perspective, it took a lot of planning. We had a lot of concern. We live in a dangerous time, and we have to be prepared and ready for all possibilities. And law enforcement did that in that case. And we all worked together to make sure this was a very safe event. But it was also a good event to be around. It was a joyous event. It was a happy event.
We were involved in the training before this event for a couple of months. The state police was in charge overall. This was considered a national security event, so they had everybody there from the Coast Guard to the FBI to the Secret Service, where it was all under the umbrella of the state police. And we had a job of training 675 state troopers in terms of what to expect at this event, what not to expect at this event, and how best to deal with any issues that could arise. And one of the things we did was we prepared a questionnaire that any person that would be coming to this event would be able to answer. If a person would be coming to a Siyum Hashas event, he would know what a shul is. He would know what Shabbos is. He would know a lot of these things. So the troopers, in case they had any person that didn't seem to be part of this event, they could quickly ask the person these. We gave them 12 questions to ask. And if the person did not answer those questions quickly and easily, to pull that person out for further questioning.
I think it may be the first time we've ever seen a crowd of that size come together in MetLife Stadium and have zero problems.
We want to keep a very strong relationship with the rabbis and Chabad House. Again, they do a great job there. It's really good. It must make their parents, the parents of those kids, it must make them feel really good to know that they're being looked at while they're away.
The one thing I will say is that the relationship we have with Chabad House is a model for the relationships that we would like to have, and to some extent we do have, but would like to grow with other faith-based community members. And with those relationships come an opportunity for us, for my office, to do the work that we do as partners.
We're there whenever he needs us, and he's there 24/7. He doesn't stop. I mean, if I picked up that phone at 2 or 3 in the morning, he's going to answer and he's going to respond. But it's something that I needed personally, or a friend of a friend. He never says no. He's always on the go. You can ask any state trooper, New York, New Jersey, up and down the East Coast, even in Canada. There's probably not a state trooper that doesn't know his name. Not only because of the spiritual support that he gives him, because of the speed that he travels at many times, but he's entitled to do that. He should have wings.
I have a daughter who's a junior at Rutgers University, and I've had the honor and privilege of having her meet Rabbi Carlbach and Mindy, and Chabad House, as I've seen firsthand, is such a vibrant part of Rutgers University, and it provides an oasis for students. You know, that's a turbulent period of time in a young person's life, and to have a support system like the Chabad House provides right on campus is so valuable to young people. I think that's one of the best things I've noticed about Chabad.
If people took the example that these people set, it would be a different world.
What you see that's developed here with the Chabad House, from a one-room vision to the facility that exists today, to the hundreds and hundreds of people that are served, thousands of people that are served by this community, and the dedication and the effort that's put into this by Rabbi Carlbach and his team. It's promoting good, ethics, values, respect. That's what they're doing here tonight, helping promote and build that. And that's what we need in this country.